everyone. I'm June from 3B. To start off, I just want to ask a question. Just raise your hands if you speak a second language or if you learn a second language in the past. Awesome, like almost everyone.
Oh my God.
So for me, I was born in Korea and I moved here when I was 18 months old. And throughout my life, my parents had a rule where we would only speak Korean in the house and speak English outside as a way for my brother and I to maintain our two languages. And when I was young, we used to go back to Korea every summer and winter. And the ultimate challenge I'd always push myself to meet was trying to speak Korean well enough that I would pass as a regular kid just growing up in Korea, not in the U.S. And for 12 really fun years of my life, I went to Korean school every Saturday morning. And I participated in all the cultural fairs at my elementary school. So growing up, I was as involved in the Korean culture as you could get living in the U.S. But since I was young, straddling these two languages, I've become really aware of the complex role that language plays in shaping and reflecting our relationship with others, our family background, and really our cultural identity. So I'd like to share some stories with you guys from my life. But one, when I was in middle school, I became my mom's designated English email editor. So this meant was I'd go read all her English emails, make sure there were no real errors, right? And you'd think that this means like a deep dive into correcting grammar or looking at punctuation or noun verb agreement. But what was so interesting to me was that actually language reflects a new perception of the world and a new understanding of social relations. And for instance, Korean really revolves around respect for elders, and this is a value that's reflected in the language. So when I was editing my mom's emails, a lot of what I had to do was try and translate this idea of implicitly making requests or respectfully making commands into English using passive voice statements. And it's actually surprisingly hard to do in a language where you refer to everyone, from your friends to your teachers, with the same pronoun you. Second, my brother and I, we were exposed to similar levels of Korean and English growing up. We both went to Korean school and we both mostly spoke Korean at home. But what was interesting was that as we grew older, it was increasingly clear that he wasn't as comfortable with Korean, and he was the first one to start speaking only in English at home. Can you guys relate to something like that? Yeah, awesome. And so this wasn't just unique to us. I took an interest in bilingualism last quarter, and we learned that birth order actually affects your relationship with language. So in the first 3 years of my life, I was exposed to only Korean through the input of my parents. But in the first 3 years of his life, he was exposed to Korean from my parents, but English from his preschool age older sister. And this divergent early language exposure really shaped our relationship with language moving forward. And finally, when I speak with my Korean friends at Stanford, our conversations always involve a really fluid mix of Korean and English. In the same sentence, we'll easily switch between the two languages multiple times. And this is a phenomenon called code switching. Something to know about code switching is that it's not just arbitrary. It doesn't just happen when you forget a word in one language and you need to switch to the other one. Code switching is really a strong communication tool. When you switch languages, it's a way of communicating a different intonation or adding a personal touch to what you're trying to say. And it's odd how sometimes people adopt completely different personas depending on whether they're speaking in a certain language. But not only that, code switching can also be used as a social tool. When you switch languages while speaking to someone, you're implicitly acknowledging that you have a shared connection with this person to this new fused culture that's not just bound to one language or one country. So to tie it all back to identity and language, and then I found language you speak are fascinating, and that they can help to form, adjust, and ultimately consolidate for yourself a strong sense of who you are. For me, the mixed fluid code I speak with my brother or with my friends really helps to inform my identity as a Korean American at the intersection of two worlds. But not only that, languages are a means through which you can become the glue between different cultures. So to make a CS reference, the language you speak is like the key in a hash map where the value that you turn is a different culture, a different way of thinking, and also a different understanding of the world. So moving forward, in the same way that editing my mom's emails forced me to reconcile the two different attitudes implicit in Korean and English. Learning completely new language is a window into a new way of understanding the world. And this, I think, is a really crucial mindset for effective diplomacy in our globalized world. Thank you. Woo.